When things are going well, life's great. Schedules are met. Deliveries are made. Drivers are paid. And customers are billed. What else could you ask for? But it doesn't always happen that way. Things can go bad, and the worst can happen. A call comes in and an accident has occurred. So, what's next? What happens next is usually an intense investigation by law enforcement, government agencies, and the trucking company itself. One of the first areas examined is training. How is a driver trained in the areas of rules, regulations, accident avoidance, and safety? Did the driver react properly to the situation? Was he or she trained in the proper response to an accident? ATA Associates is an engineering firm involved in trucking safety and litigation forensics. One of our primary concerns is how vehicles perform in crash conditions. As a result, we conduct crash tests to simulate accident conditions. How does that benefit the driver and the trucking company? Well, by conducting these crash simulations, we can show what happens in particular types of accident scenarios. Observing these crash simulations and animated recreations, you as a driver can make better, safer decisions should you ever encounter these situations on the road. Here are examples of crash simulations that are important for any trucker to be aware of. Watch and study them. Note the circumstances with which they occur. Know how they happen, so you can better understand how to avoid them. If you're a professional driver, you're probably thinking, these accidents will never happen to me. I'm a good and careful driver. They only happen to less skilled drivers. Studies show that over 70% of traffic fatalities involving tractor-trailers and passenger vehicles were recorded as being caused by the passenger vehicle driver. The professional driver needs to be cautious of these smaller vehicles. They can change lanes quickly, often without signaling. So it's imperative that you drive defensively. You don't have to cause an accident to be involved in one. Industry leaders have indicated that drivers who survive these devastating accidents will often leave the profession altogether. Our first example is the subject of truck blind spots, or areas of limited visibility. Drivers may need to be reminded that trucks have large areas where your ability to see other objects is limited. When changing lanes, these blind spots are a frequent contributor to serious accidents. ATA Associates staged a series of lane change incidents using specially prepared equipment and professional stunt drivers. The result of our testing leaves little doubt that drivers should be frequently reminded of how easy it is for an automobile to be caught in a truck's blind spot. The consequences of such maneuvers can be very serious. Always check your blind spot before changing lanes. In fact, check your mirrors 3 times and signal your intentions before you make the maneuver. The best method is the direct look. Lean forward and take a look at the blind spot located in the right front portion of your truck before making a lane change. And make sure your mirrors are clean and properly adjusted. If your truck is equipped with nose mirrors, use them often. They can effectively reduce the size of the right side blind spot. When you see traffic merging into your lane, keep control of your lane by adjusting your speed and allowing traffic to merge without changing lanes. Underrides are very dangerous. ATA Associates staged a recreation of an accident of this type to illustrate its devastating results. The top of the test vehicle going under the trailer was totally sheared off, completely destroying the vehicle and most probably its occupants. Truck drivers need to constantly be aware of the size of their vehicles. Don't be caught in a situation where an accident like this might occur. If a U-turn is absolutely necessary, be sure you have the time and space to safely make the turn. Never make a U-turn on a busy street or even a seldom used road. You never know when someone may come along, not see your truck, and be involved in an accident of this kind. Some companies may prohibit their drivers from making U-turns. Check with your safety director or company policy. Braking demonstrations emphasize the need for the professional truck driver to know the braking ability of his or her vehicle. How long does it take to safely stop from highway speeds with the load you're carrying? What are the conditions of your truck's brakes? Did you check every wheel and brake on your rig at your last pre-trip or post-trip inspection? How does weather, tire conditions, speed limits, and road conditions stop your truck safely? These braking tests were conducted for Texas A&M University, Texas Engineering Extension Services. They show stopping times and distances, as well as brake drum temperatures while performing emergency stopping procedures. Perform your own stopping test with your truck in conjunction with your fleet's own safety method. Know how quickly and how far it takes to stop with a full load. It is important to maintain safe and proper following distances between other vehicles while on the highway. If the vehicle in front of you makes an emergency stop, do you have enough distance between your vehicles to stop safely and avoid a rear-end collision? You can be cited if you are following too closely and rear-end another vehicle. More and more unsafe drivers are being indicted on criminal and civil charges and named in plaintiff lawsuits. Drivers can be held personally liable for damages they cause by failing to keep a proper distance between their vehicle and the vehicle in front of them. Requirements vary throughout the industry. Be sure you know your company's requirement concerning following intervals. Here's how to establish a proper interval. When the vehicle in front of you passes a mile marker, bridge, or other object alongside the road, start counting. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, and so forth until you pass the object. Quite often, light impacts or fender benders between a truck and other vehicles tend to be thought of as minor by drivers and investigators. Although you might think little or no damage is done, this type of accident can be far more serious than you think. The lack of damage to a vehicle does not necessarily mean there were no injuries to the occupants. If you are involved in a low-impact collision, don't ignore it. Report it to your fleet manager and the proper authorities. An insignificant bump today might turn out to be a lawsuit tomorrow. Do you know what happens when a truck hits a concrete barrier at highway speeds? Here are some tests conducted by the Texas Highway Department at Texas A&M University. They show the damage patterns caused by hitting different types of highway barriers. The results are significant. These tests were done at approximately 55 miles per hour. The barriers are designed to contain an accident, but imagine what it would be like to be the human cargo on board. So stay alert and keep your rig under control. Night can be a dangerous time. Many drivers prefer traveling at night because of less traffic and cooler tire temperatures. But there are additional hazards that come with night driving, such as driver fatigue and vehicle visibility. Be sure you are well rested before driving at night, especially around dawn. Change your driving style after dark. Don't overdrive your headlights, and make sure your truck can be seen. Check and clean all your lights at your pre-trip inspection. Burned out lights at best can result in a citation and delay. In some cases, they can be a contributing factor to a devastating crash. Sometimes you can see smaller vehicles better than they can see you. At night, an 18-wheeler can sometimes look like an overpass or other non-moving object. At night, you must rely on lights and reflective materials to be seen by surrounding traffic. Let's go back to that telephone call we talked about earlier. There's been an accident. What happens next? First of all, stay calm. If you've been trained, take care of any injured parties to the best of your ability, and be sure emergency medical services have been summoned. Protect the scene from further accidents by turning on your four-ways, placing emergency triangles, or putting out flares. Then call your designated company emergency contact. It may be a driver manager, fleet manager, or other designated safety contact. Let them know that you've had an accident and exactly where you are. Once the company gets the call, they will probably alert their insurance adjuster, their legal team, and the accident response team. What is an accident response team? They are a team of investigators, photographers, and surveyors who can get to an accident site, sometimes within hours of an accident, and gather evidence and site measurements while everything is still intact. Incomplete, missing, or deteriorated evidence can lead to inaccuracies that could compromise the legal positions of the parties involved. With the passage of time, skid marks can disappear, gouge marks can be paved over, and many clues to what actually happened may be lost or altered. Experience has proven that a rapid response to an accident situation can possibly save a trucking company millions of dollars in litigation and judgment costs. We hope you have found these examples useful. Study them and study the situations in which they occur. Learn to recognize these situations and avoid them. Safe driving saves lives and protects property. It keeps trucks on schedule and drivers earning a living. So remember, drive carefully.